Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into Natas, a war game from OverTheWire designed to sharpen your web security skills. Before we get started, however, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Now, let's jump in and start hacking our way through Natas. The level I'm going to do will be level 20. And now the series of Natas is getting more and more interesting and more complicated. But don't worry, I will try my best to get the answer out. I will explain the source code as detailed as possible. And also I'm going to use Python to get the job done. So now we can copy this address as starting point, and then we can head over to Linux. We can paste the address into the address bar of the browser. I failed to copy. I need to copy it again and go back to browser of Linux, press enter. So proxy server is refusing connection. Sorry, I need to turn off the proxy in advance. Now we can hit again. And as the previous level, we need to provide the username and also its corresponding password. We can get it from notebook. Sign in. Don't save. So you're logged in as regular user. Log in as admin to retrieve credentials for the next level. So here we can change the name. But for example, we can change it to like a JSON and change the name. Nothing returned. Very weird, right? But don't worry. Here, this level is providing us its source code. We can open link in new tab to view the source code. As before, we just focus on the middle sections of this web page and PHP code. So here, define the function, the debug. So if the get, this array, if a get array has a key debug, and then we'll print out the debug message. And this message consists of two parts. Debug, this is the fixed part, and then the variable message. Okay? And next, another function, print credentials. So if the session, as you know, session is one important mechanism adopted by the web application to keep track things for different users, right? And session is different from cookie. Cookie would be set by the web application and then will pushed to the browser or the client. And so every time afterwards the browser submit or send a request to web application, the cookie will be carried as well. Alongside its request. And then, of course, the developer of web application can put anything he wants into cookie. Okay? So the session is, this is a special data type, and this is stored or is kept on the server or at the server side. Okay, so if the session is not empty, and then the array will check to see whether the session, session is array, has a key, a domain, and also the value for this key equals 0. And then we can get the password for the next level, Natas 21. So I think from this function itself, we can tell that the key factor to get the password for the next level is to manipulate session. And session, just I mentioned earlier, session is kept on the server side. So we need to find a way, or need to check whether, we need to see how this session data is created. And if we can, if we can transfer some kinds of data from the browser, from the client, and this kind of data can be put into session, and then, we can get the credentials for the next level. Of course, we need to, we can call it vulnerability. We need to find such a vulnerability, okay? And now in many applications nowadays, we cannot, it's not easy to find such a vulnerability. Anyway, this is the Natas series, purposefully built and designed by, by the creator to practice our skills with respect to web security. Okay, so now I think we have already know what this function does. And next function, myOpen, this is the, however, always return true. So here there are two arguments or parameters, pass and lim, but whatever we put, and we always return true. So to some extent, we can ignore this, this function. Similarly, the close, my close, always return true. Actually, this is, has something to do with the session. When we, when the application start or open the session, close the session, and if you code something in this function, and then, this code will be executed when we open the session or close the session. However, it's not the case for this application because always return true. And the next function, very important function, myRead. So when, the application read or open the sessions, and then we'll read the data, and there is one argument, session ID, and debug. So we'll, this is called the function, what we define here, and myRead SID. Of course, up to this point, because we didn't pass the parameter debug, so we cannot see anything, right? So what if we pass the key debug? You can see what will happen. We can get some debug message like myWrite, and this should be the session ID, and this is the file of the session files, okay? File of session or session file, and this is the random or PHP session ID, and this is the fixed, okay? Let's go back to the source code to understand this PHP code. So this is a debugged message, and nothing, just to help us understand this application. And the next, this is the function string SPN. This function, actually this line is to check to see whether SID is valid or just consists of digits, lowercase character and uppercase character, and also the hyphen. If anything, or any other type of character is in the SID, and then, this returned value will not equal to the length of this SID, okay? If you want, you can go to, for example, you can go to the Google to make some research, PHP string function. So find the length of its initial segment of a string consisting of entirely of characters contained within a given mask. For example, here the SID, let me SID, for example, SID, and this is the valid characters. And if you give 2 arguments to this function, this will return a 0, right? And then, this will return, I think this will return the how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. So this, the return value will equal to the length of this string. However, if put something like enter, and this case just return 5. Okay, the function of this function PHP, string SPN will return 5. However, the length of this string is 6. So in this case, the returned value doesn't equal to the length of the string. I think you have really got my point. So basically, this just to check whether SID only contains the digits and lowercase characters and also uppercase character and also the hyphen. Anything else is forbidden in the SID. We'll put the invalid SID message. And the next is a file name. So this is the built-in PHP function, and this will return current path. I think this should be this one. Okay, and then now will be concatenate. The dot means concatenation in PHP, and then the slash, and then my session underscore, and followed by the session ID. Okay, if this file doesn't exist, and then we'll return empty. And the next, we can, this is called the function debug. Again, we're reading from this file. Okay, so now if we, now we didn't see this message, right? This message. However, I think if you refresh this page, you can see my read. No? Maybe we can test. No? So why? So the reading from file name. Reading from file name. Oh, we need to pass the debug. Press enter. So I think, yeah, as you can see over here, my read, and followed by the session ID, right? This should be the file name. The file name. Okay. My read. This is session ID. And my write. So if we refresh again, this time reading from this file. Okay, I think up to this point I have already explained all above code, and then the data equals to, this function is another built-in PHP function, will retrieve content from this file. I mean from this file. Okay, this is the absolute path of a session file. And then the session, this is, I mentioned earlier, this is the special array or variable related to the session. And for now, will be cleared or set to empty array, or array which is empty. And then we'll do the for loop, like Python for loop. We'll read each line, okay, and explode, as you know, explode is, so we can as you know, can do the separation, and the separator, this case is \n. This one means new line, okay, or line break. So this will, will get each line. And then again, this is another exploit. So for each line, we'll separate. For example, let me explain. So like A, B, B, B. So this line, or CCC, D, D, D. And so this function is just to separate this file to two lines. And then this function will separate by space, all right, sorry, by space. And the first one is the key. If the 0 means this one is not empty, and then the session. So this all values will be set to session array, and the first word in each line would be set as key, and the second one is set as value. Okay, so I think this is a very important part to understand the entire logic of the application. And this is another function, built-in PHP function, will serialize the session data. Okay, so next, the function is write. So the data contains the serialized version of session data. Session is array, right? However, the data is serialized version. Maybe you can understand that as JSON, maybe. Okay, but our encoding is better. And then we'll debug my write. I think we have already seen this message, my write, and followed by the SID and the data. And then again, this function is same as this one, just to check whether the SID contains invalid ID, or sorry, not ID, invalid character. Okay, if the SID is valid, and then we'll go on. So the file name would be this one, the session, the current path of the session, and concatenate / and my ses, and followed by the session ID. And very interesting, this data will be cleared because it's set to empty, okay, empty string, and then we'll provide some debugging message. And this function, this is another function to sort this this session data or array based on the keys. Okay, and now for each, we'll read this session read array and as key value pairs. Okay, and then the key value would be will be converted to string. Okay, and I think just nothing here. Okay, and so then we'll save this data to the file. Okay, and change mode to 06600. Okay, and return true. And another function might destroy. When the session is destroyed, return true. So I think we can ignore these two functions as this one. We do not need to care about my open, my close. We just need to care about my read, my write. Okay, and this is another function, session set safe handler. So because the developer of the application wants to change the behavior of the session when the session is opened, closed, or read some data of a session write into the session file, And then, this is the reason why we put this function first before we try to start the session, okay? Of course, I think this one we can ignore, and also this one we can ignore, and also this one, these two can be ignored as well. And then we can start the session. And next, so very important, if we cannot transfer some kinds of data from the browser to the web application into the session, I think we cannot do anything in terms of session manipulation, right? Because why? Here, if our request array has the key lim, I think this should be the lim, if you scroll down, the lim, and the value will be set to the session. For example, if you set to a JSON, and then at the server side, the session array will has a key JSON. Oh, sorry, the key lim is lim, and the value for this key is JSON. Okay, and then we'll print out the credentials for the next level, and the next lim will be set to 0. Oh, sorry, not 0, empty, and then we'll check to see whether the session has the lim, and then we'll set the lim variable. So I think I have already gone through the entire PHP code and every function in this code. So what we have to do next, we need to find a way to, to manipulate the session generation. As we know, the lim key of the request will be set to the session, and also as you can see over here, and this function myWrite will save the such data into the file, okay? And another, of course, I think it's okay. And another very important point is, this function will use the line break, or this is means new line, to be separator, to split the data to different lines. And then, again, for each line, the data would be separate again, and the first word would be set as key, and its value would be set as its value. Because our goal is to, set, we need to have the session at the mean to 1, okay? So this is our objective, right? And so how to do? What if, for example, we have now we can have the lim like a JSON. So if we can put like, the new line, and then at the mean, space 1. If we can find a way to input information into the request, and this request would be sent to the web application, right? And this data will be saved into the session file, as you can see over here. And when we access the application, and this function will be, triggered, myRead. And then, because of this function, this file will be separated by 2 lines. Okay, 2 lines. And this will be set as key, and this will be set as its value. And then I think we can, we can get our objective. Okay, so how do I mean? Let me show you in action. So now we can launch the BurpSuite. And we can navigate to Proxy tab, turn on Intercept option, and we can trigger new requests like a JSON or maybe anything else like a test. We can change name, and we can get the request. So now, as you know, now we can send the request to repeater or module. If you just send this request, nothing will, nothing different will happen. Okay, so just same. However, if you put the line break and admin followed by the 1, and then you can see what will happen. Of course, this should be encoded should be UI encoded. We can copy and go to the decoder or encoder module, encode. Not, so I don't think it's necessary. We can use encode as URL. No. So URL encode. Encode, or not this one. We can repeater A, B, encode. So this should be the encoded form for the new line. And also space, so we can B or C encode. So this would be, I think, 20. Now, so now if we send the request, nothing different. However, if you access the application again, nothing different. Interesting. A bit confused. But anyway, we can turn off like a test. And for example, we can A, okay, and admin 20%, 21. Change the name. Maybe we can pass the debug. Oh, not this one. Bug. And change the name. Test. Admin and actor. We can, and also we can give the debug. You logging us. So now, so the 0. Maybe we need to Oh, I think they should be this one, right? My encoding is not correct. Now if we 20 change the name, debug, change the name. A bit embarrassed. So BC encode. So the line break should be, I think this one is right. At the mean. And at the mean, $20. We can change the name. Also, we can give the debug. But we didn't get anything back. So the test at the mean. It should be working, right? At the mean, at the mean 1. So this, we can change it to something else, like Bob, change the name. We can refresh. What's going on? All right, I'm back. Maybe it would be better to use BurpSuite to, to manipulate the request. And then we can put debug, and also we can, I didn't put anything different. I just encode UI encode the line break or new line, and then this is the space. %20 means space. And then you can send a request, and then you can get a response which contains the password for the next level. I must admit, this is complicated, okay, to some extent. However, maybe we can use Python to do this job more easily if we can find the vulnerability. Okay, let me show you. So we can go to the Python, new Python Natas 20, and first of all, we need to get, we can get its request by inspect. We can trigger new request. Maybe we can turn off. And so we can get a request, post request. We can copy value as a queue. And we can go to this website. And we can copy this PHP code to paste in here. And then next we need to do some modifications. So I'd like to move the header to the beginning of this code. And also I'd like to come out the oscillation, because where I want to, I want to use the, the oscillation argument to carry this kind of information. Okay, later you can know what I mean. And also, we need to import the HTTP basic authentication class. First of all, we can initialize the instance for this class. We need to give 2 arguments, 20, and also its password. We can copy from notebook. And, Python can, request module can automatically make some encoding. We do not need to, because request will take care of the encoding, whatever, the parameter or query string in the URL or the body or request body or payload. The request module can take care of them for us. Okay, so from this perspective, Python would be more effective and more convenient for us. So what can we do next? First of all, we need to post request to the application, web application, and I'd like to how to do. So we can put some comment here. Maybe this code is a bit ugly. Sorry about that. So we can send post request to the web application first to, put admin 1. We can use admin 1 into, into lame, or the, the key value pair of lame. I think you have got my point, right? So how to do? Maybe I can move again. Sorry. And now how to do? We can response requests post. Oh, I think I just I do not need to use this one. So response 1, and so the cookie. At this moment, we do not need it. And so the data, but we didn't have a data, right? So how about change again? Copy. So here request. Okay. So we can copy value again, and so we can copy this payload and paste over here. And in this case, of course, this is the key part. We need to put something into the value. So line break and followed by admin and space 1. Because my rate function will separate by this one, by \n, or will be split it into different lines, and then the second explode function will split these 2 words again, and the first word will be key, and the second one is the value, and then this key value would be, would be serving as a session, okay, or would be put into the session array. So I think that's it. So also we need to put data, and also we can we can print out the parameters, because we want to have the debug, but I don't think it's necessary. We can put empty. So the parameters and authentication argument basic. So now we can get the PHP session ID, and this can be response cookies, and its key name is like this one. What is key name? The key name is this. We can copy from here. Okay, so now we can construct cookies, and this would be dictionary, and the key name is PHP schedule ID, and the value is PHP schedule ID. Okay, so now we can send the second requests. We can use the get, and we can copy this URL here. Of course, we need to use single quote or double quotes, and headers, authentication, basic, and also parameters, cookies, cookie. So now we can print out the second response and save our program and bring up the terminal window to run our program. As you can see, I think we have already got the password for the next level. Fantastic. Even more convenient for, when we use the Python, because we do not need to manually, make some encoding or decoding. The request module of Python will take care of them automatically. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to see you in the next one. Bye. Have a nice day.